Good evening and welcome to Act America. I'm your host, E.W. Helmick. Thank you very much for joining. Ben Stein is an author, an actor, an economist, lawyer. He lives in Beverly Hills. He writes Ben Stein's diary for every issue of the American Spectator. He recently wrote an article called "We Figured Him Out." And he starts by saying, why is President Barack Obama in such a hurry to get his socialized medicine bill passed? Well, it's because, folks, we figured him out. You figured him out. And you've done that by taking action on many, many items that people like myself, Act America, have been telling you to do. You've done things like gone to town hall meetings. Your voice was heard in such a large way, in fact, that for 2 weeks, town halls dominated all the news channels across the country. People, your voice has been heard. We've told the president and his administration that we're not happy with what he's doing. So what is your action item? Your action item is to continue doing exactly what it is you're doing, if of course that is that you're letting your voice be heard. So pretty simple action item tonight, but I want to read you another article. This article is by a gentleman by the name of Kevin McCullough. Kevin McCullough is a nationally syndicated host of Extreme Radio. He's a columnist in New York. He writes an article called "Why the Administration Will Implode in Weeks." Now, it's in large part due to your action items and your continued support of pushing the administration towards freedom and what we actually stand for. He writes 6 points. Let me read those to you. He says, healthcare's long and painful death. He says, bearing the existing possibility that the Democrats cram a reform bill down the throats of actively protesting Americans through an ultra-partisan process that would shut out conservatives and Republicans from even being allowed to contribute to the discussion, healthcare reform is dead. He goes on to say that cap and trade will be the largest tax increase in American history. He says that there's no way that can be passed. There's no way because in 2010, your elected officials are up again for re-election. And there's no way they're going to pass something like cap and trade, which would be the highest tax increase in American history. You're not going to let that happen. He goes on to cite, unemployment is going to remain high. If people were working, higher taxes and possible new health care entitlements could be considered. But without them, working it is political suicide for Democrats to even think of it. He talks about Obama's integrity, which is tarnished. He's saying, long story short, at the beginning of the summer, Americans mostly trusted him. His passion index was at a positive 10. He's going into the fall with a negative 14. He talks about a $3 trillion budget. There's no way I'm going to let that pass or you're going to let that pass. And lastly, he talks about a coming middle class tax hike. He says, in order to pay for everything they've promised and budgeted for, a tax is looming for small businesses and working families that President Obama promised would never come. He says, as a side note, he was going to break that promise all along. People, the point being this: you have put pressure on the administration. We figured him out. The administration is about to fall. I truly believe that because of your action items, because of you standing up for what's right, standing up for your freedom, standing for your families, and standing for America, there's no way your elected officials are going to go back and commit political suicide. Your other action item, of course, is to be in Washington, D.C. on 9/12. The 9/12 Project is going to be there. The 9/12 Project was designed to bring the American people, you and I, back to a place where we were on 9/12, the day after 9/11, 2001. A day when we were humbled, a day when we were suddenly courageous, and a day when we were suddenly very bold. The 9/12 Project will be September 12th in Washington, D.C. You can go to the 9/12 Project and take a look at all that they have to offer and what the schedule looks like. But folks, you need to be there. If you can't be there, then you need to make sure that your neighbor gets there. You need to pay for somebody to be there. All in all to say, people, we need our voice to be heard because this time the president will not be able to ignore our Tea Party. People, it's your responsibility, it's your right, and it's your freedom. It's time to act, America. I'm your host, E.W. Helmick. Good night and God bless.